It's about time with Rashawn's About Time Boxing, aka Mr. Trill 100 Mil. What's up? It's my About Time Boxing family and the Trill 100 Mil gang. I just want to say thank you again, man, to every single one of y'all who has been taking out the time to watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, and leave the comments. If you have not already subscribed to the channel and you're watching this video or any of my videos for the first time, please hit that subscribe button and encourage others to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit that notification button to stay up on the latest with Rashawn's About Time Boxing. Hey, honestly, excuse me. I actually started not to do a video about it. And there's no, I'm not like, there's no disrespect or no like shot at, the fight or anything like that. But I don't know. The Michael Gerard Tyson versus Jake Joseph Paul, July 20th. In, was it Dallas, Texas or something like that? Or at the AT&T Stadium or Arlington, Texas, or it's in Texas. Now you got Mike Tyson on one hand, who was, some people say arguably, but, I would say was the baddest man, probably one of the most feared boxers of his era in boxing. He has, this man has 58 professional fights, right? With, I think, 6 losses, 50 wins, and 44 knockouts. And Jake Paul has 10 professional fights, 9 wins, I believe. He has 1 loss to Tommy Fury, and he has 6 knockouts. Now, and I just want to, shout out to my guy, Mark Nash, in case you see this, because I don't know, he might I'm sure he probably already, weighed in on it. And if y'all haven't subscribed to his channel too, subscribe to Mark Nash to his channel. And subscribe to my guy, man, my brother, Rebel Life Boxing, man. Shout out to Rebel Life Boxing. But, I don't know. I just feel like that because Jake Paul has been catching so much flack about, not fighting actual fighters, all the while parading around as a professional fighter, because this is how he's marketing himself. Everybody know that, him and his brother, they, they were YouTubers, and then they, was able to, to catapult off of that and do a lot of great things. And I commend both of them, for that. You know what I mean? Shout out to, to them for that. I'm not, you can't, I don't knock nobody hustle. I'm not disrespecting, like nothing that they have, that they have accomplished. I'm not disrespecting nothing that Jake Paul has accomplished. So I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying. But I feel like that, they're trying, I think that this fight is a way of them trying to legitimize Jake Paul, to like really give him a stamp so people can say, okay, he's now, all right, you can say he's a real fighter. That's what I feel like they trying to do. I just feel like this is a way of them trying to legitimize him. But you're fighting a 57-year-old who will be 58 by a fight, by the time the fight happens. A 58-year-old Mike Tyson. And if you ask me, there's no way if Mike Tyson was in his prime, or even just slightly past his prime, Jake Paul does not take this fight, in my opinion. He does not take this fight. Now, Tommy Fury is, a professional fighter. Y'all can now feel free to drop the comments. I don't care if, y'all comments are good or bad towards what I'm saying. You know, I just want to, you know, because I really want y'all to chime in. I want to see, you know, like what y'all think about it. But, and then he fought, who did he fight? Andre August and somebody, Berlin. I think that was his last fight. Somebody, Ryan Berlin or something like that. Now these guys are, you know, you can go on BoxRec and you can look up, you know, Tommy Fury and, you know, Ryan Berlin and Andre August. But come on, these guys are, you know, he was supposed to fight Hasim Rahman, and we saw how that whole thing went. That fight could have happened, but he didn't fight him. And then later you find out that everything that Jake Paul was trying to say, you know, that Hasim Rahman did or didn't do or whatever, you know, found out that, you know, the fight actually still could have happened. But, you know, a lot of people looked at it like Jake he didn't really want to fight a real fighter. Now, of course, he fought, you know, Nick or Nate Diaz. He fought one of them, one of the Diaz brothers. I think it was Nate or Nick, one of them. He fought one of the Diaz brothers. He fought another YouTuber, Ali Essen or something like that. I don't think he fought Brian now. I know Brian Custer mentioned something about him fighting KSI, but I do believe that was his brother, Logan, who fought KSI. That wasn't him, but he fought Tyron Woodley. So, he fought Nate Robinson, he outweighed Nate Robinson. He knocked him. He's a former basketball player. And then these, Anderson Silva, over the hill, retired MMA fighters. So my thing is, because at the press conference, Jake Paul said that he's daring to be great. That's what he does. He like to take the biggest risks and things like that. Now, I know he was supposed to fight Muxin Kasan, but he backed out of it. He didn't want to fight him. So this is why, people are saying like, well, when are you actually going to start fighting like real like contenders, legitimate fighters, not these guys who, is, 35, almost 40 years old with 10 professional fights and stuff like that, who started boxing late, and because they are considered to be pro fighters, you're taking it so you can add them to your resume, all the while knowing that the risk is not as great as the risk that you're claiming that you like to take. And whoever begs to differ, please drop the comments in the comment section below. And honestly, because I want to know, is this something that I'm tripping about? I don't think that I am. I do not think that I am. But I do feel like that they are, like they're trying to give Jake Paul some type of legitimacy in the boxing world so people can say, if he knocks out Mike Tyson, which, and oh man, like Mike, if you happen to come across this video, man, please don't take this as I'm not insulting you or disrespecting you, because listen, even at 57, 58 years old, Mike Tyson can still, break somebody's jaw. He can still break somebody's ribs. He can still put them punches together and, and hurt somebody. You know what I mean? He can still, throw some one-hitter quitters. I'm sure he can. I'm sure he can. But, there are people who feel like that this fight is scripted and that this fight has been staged to try to, again, legitimize Jake Paul so people can stop saying, oh, man, you're not really fighting no real fighters. You're not fighting no contender. So him beating Mike Tyson, because it's 8 rounds and they're 2-minute rounds, not 3-minute. And Brian Custer was saying that this is a professional heavyweight fight. He didn't say exhibition. So more than any, heavyweight fight. Of course, I guess they're not worried about the weight, so nobody's not going to make no big deal about, well, what's the weight that they fighting at? If it's a heavyweight fight, doesn't matter what they weigh, pretty much. So that throws out the whole weight thing, with the, having the different weight classes and, stipulated weights, and you got to be able to make the weight, like Ryan Garcia didn't do for the Devin Haney fight. You see what I'm saying? And so, all right, it's a heavyweight fight, so Jake goes up in weight. I'm pretty sure his power probably will go up with him, you know what I mean? But the 2-minute rounds, because I don't think it's because of Mike Tyson. I don't know. Like, I heard Jake Paul say in the press conference, lay off the weed and things like that. But I just don't think that Jake Paul can go 10 rounds, 10 3-minute rounds. You see what I'm saying? So if you're daring to be great, and this is a professional heavyweight fight, and maybe it was Mike Tyson who was like, all right, well, let's do 2-minute rounds. But the women do 2-minute. The women professional fighters, they do 2-minute rounds. That's what they do. The women pro fighters do 2-minute rounds. But again, and I'm among some of the skeptics who feel like that this is a fight to try to legitimize Jake Paul, because Mike Tyson has what? The accolades, the name, the reputation. You see, youngest heavyweight champion. He was undisputed, high knockout ratio. So if Jake Paul knocks out Mike Tyson, does that make Jake Paul the baddest man on the planet? Absolutely not. And in my opinion, if he beats Mike Tyson or even stops him or knock him out, does that legitimizes Jake Paul to me? Absolutely not. It does not legitimize him to me. It doesn't. Now, I would love to see him fight a legitimate cruiserweight or heavyweight, but he's not going to fight a Bivol, a Demetrius Bivol. He's not going to fight a David Benavidez. He's not going to fight, you know what I mean? He's not going to do anything. He's not going to fight nobody out there who's daring to be great. He probably won't even fight Munguia. If Munguia decided to take the fight to go up to cruiserweight or whatever the situation is. But, and I'm, because, these guys, they probably can make that weight. But he's going to keep looking for these guys, who has these, I'm not going to say so-called pro careers, because I don't want to insult or disrespect any professional fighter, because I know what it takes to, you know what I mean? Like, I know what them gloves feel like. I know what it's like to be in that ring. I know what the training is like. I know, and it's not for the weak. It's not for the weak. So I don't want to disrespect any fighters, that, the boxers, I'm talking about the Tommy Fury, Ryan Berlin, and Andre August, because they had some pro experience. But it's just, those of y'all who know what I'm talking about, y'all know what I'm getting at. It's not about me trying to insult no, professional fighters. This is not about that. But I just feel like, and some of y'all would probably call it strategic. And it is strategic for, Jake Paul to work his way into the rankings by, fighting, people who nobody really knows about. Nobody really heard of people knew who Tommy Fury was because of his brother Tyson. But nobody knew really who Andre August was. Nobody really knew who Ryan Berlin was. You know what I mean? And you can't brag about knocking out Nate Robinson. You can't brag about that. Nate Robinson is a basketball player. Boxing is not his profession. So again, Jake, if you're daring to be great, fight some of the real contenders. Fight the real contenders. sign those contracts where you have to make weight, not, you know, where you can just come in weighing whatever you want. So if you're daring to be great, then you would challenge yourself in those aspects. You're not daring to be great fighting a bunch of exhibitions and then, you know, trying to use the exhibitions as a real professional record, like you actually knocking out fighters, you know what I'm saying, who's, you know, who's active. Because that's not daring, that's not being great. That's not, that to me. I'm just saying, and that's my opinion. But those of you who disagree, fine. If y'all think that, you know, that Jake Paul is a legitimate contender, now, I'm sure he has improved as a fighter because boxing is not easy and you don't play boxing. So I respect the fact that he, you know, is dedicating himself to the sport. I respect that. I respect that. I do, 100%. I respect that. I respect anybody who dedicates themselves to the sport of boxing. But you're not going to convince me that, you know, you're fighting these over-the-hill retired mixed martial arts fighters, you know, some pro fighters, but, you know, people don't really know of, never heard of, and they might be journeymen themselves, and you're just knocking them guys out. Like, people start out in the beginning of their pro careers who are top prospects, and they fight people like that, and they do what they're supposed to do with them to build up their record. But you building up your record off of, you know, beating, you know, these mixed martial arts fighters. You know, you didn't knock out Tommy Fury. You knocked out Tyron Woodley, you know. But again, you know, these, you know, Tommy Fury, you know, people know who he is because of his brother. But mostly everybody else, man, that's not daring to be great. And then Jake Paul actually had the nerve to say something to, you know, well, here's the thing. I'm going to play a little excerpt from the press conference, and then I'll elaborate, you know, on that afterwards, though. So let's just take a listen.
You seem to level up, but there's still people, there's haters against you, there's people that say you aren't a real boxer. If and when you beat Mike Tyson, is this the fight that puts the stamp on Jake Paul, the boxer?
Yeah, 100%. They say he's the baddest man on the planet, so let's find out. Apparently, he's the final boss, moving up to heavyweight and continue to prove all these dumbasses wrong. That's what I do my whole entire life. Boo yourselves. Boo yourselves.
Jake, I will say this. It's one thing to fight at.
Now, he's saying moving up to heavyweight and, you know, that's what he do. He's daring to be great, and he's moving up to heavyweight. But again, you going up to heavyweight where you can put weight on. So nobody's going to question the whole weight thing or his discipline. Like, can you be in camp for 8 weeks to actually, you know, to make weight? You know, when you fighting a fight like this, you know, of course, you're just working on, you know, skill, power punches, you know, game plan, you know, things of that nature, you know, because you got the things that you work on when you're in training camp. But when you have to make weight, if you're fighting at 47, 54, things like that, so you're working on making weight. At the same time, you got your team people watching, doing film study, you know what I mean? Then you, of course, you got to, you know, while you're making weight, you know what I mean, or working on making weight, you actually working on, you know, your skill, your power, you know, your defense, technique, and different things like that. But again, I feel like that this is just their way of trying to, and I'm not saying they're using Mike Tyson. I'm not, you know, Mike Tyson is, I don't think that Mike Tyson will allow himself to be used, you know what I mean, in that capacity. But Mike Tyson does know and understand, like, okay, he understands the business of boxing. Even though Mike said a long time ago, boxing is a hurt sport. But Mike Tyson does understand the business of boxing. And he know, like, man, come on, like, I'm not going to win no championship belts. I'm almost 60 years old. Like, I'm not, you know, Here's a kid, you know, trying to legitimize himself. He catching a lot of flack from the general public. You know, people don't look at him as a, you know, as a legitimate fighter. So, you know, let's put him in there with me, you know, so we can try to stamp his name to give him some legitimacy. Mike understands the business. He understands the business of boxing. And there was something else that Jake Paul said. Jake Paul said that he has done more for the sport of boxing than any other fighter. Crickets on that one. I'm sorry. I'm going to agree to disagree. There's so many other fighters who have done a lot for the sport of boxing. You know, I mean, the one thing he did was advocate for women, female boxers to get more, to make more money, you know, which is, you know, good for that. Salute, you know, salute to Jake Paul for that. But as far as you doing more for the entire sport of boxing than any other fighter, no, you didn't. I disagree with that. And if I'm wrong, please drop the comments in the comment section below and just, you know, let me know where I went wrong at, you know, or why y'all disagree with what I'm saying, because I don't believe that he's done more for the sport than any other boxer or fighter, you know, in boxing, you know, in the history of the sport. As Joseph Paul himself said, I don't agree with that. But I just wanted to, I didn't intend for this video to go this long, you know what I mean? I really didn't, but I just had to chime in on that. So, but anyway, I appreciate y'all, man. Look, drop the comments in the comment section below and let me know what y'all think, man, about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Do y'all think that this fight is scripted? Do y'all think that Mike is going to take a dive? Do y'all think that, you know, Mike Tyson is doing this to, or do you think that this fight has been staged, you know, to try to give Jake Paul or stamp him with some type of legitimacy in this sport, to make people look at him or respect him as a real, you know, as looking at him as an actual fighter? Let me know what y'all think. This is all I got for now, you know, till to the next one.